Friends, the clock is ticking, but the time may already be up. Not only are we seeing the nuclear proliferation happening in Iran, the problem is it's happening faster and faster and faster. We're going to be talking about how dangerous it is getting, how close Iran is to a nuclear weapon, or as I'm going to lay out before you, how many nuclear weapons do they have and what type of delivery vehicles they have. We got a lot to talk about, friends. Let's jump right into it. Welcome to the Poplar Report. I'm Steve Poplar. I'm an accountant by trade, and we're covering things that mainstream media is silent on. Nobody's talking about this. Nobody's talking about how all of these things are pointing to the fact that our enemies, these Brics countries, the alliance of Russia, China, Iran, North Korea, we got these countries, Belarus, and some other ones like Cuba, which probably isn't helping very much. North Korea is probably not helping very much either. But we have these countries, and they are preparing for war. I know a lot of people keep looking at the Chinese buildup, and they keep laughing to themselves. But friends, you shouldn't be laughing. When somebody is exerting all of their energy and efforts to building a weapon systems that are designed to take you out, you should stop laughing. You should take it seriously. Because you may outsmart them today, you may outsmart them tomorrow. But if they keep continuing to learn and adapt, especially if you're tasked with defending against everyone, not just against them, and they're preparing to just fight you. China has a lot of monetary resources at their disposal, and they are preparing and preparing fast. It has already been agreed on by basically most people in the military-industrial complex that if China chose to take Taiwan tomorrow, they could do so. And I've shown you how on this channel that could go down, but they are building thousands. They have over 6,000 ballistic missiles, medium-range ballistic missiles. We've seen one of those Oreshniks hit, right, over in Ukraine. And everyone's freaking out and saying, like, wow, this is something different. This is big. China has, and this is years old information, over 6,000 ballistic missiles pointed at Taiwan. I wouldn't be surprised if that number is well over 10,000 by now. And these are ballistic missiles designed to take out buildings, take out aircraft carriers. Gee, wonder why they need those. Navy ships to destroy ports. These are powerful weapons that are designed to bring Taiwan to its knees. But they could also be packed up on their trucks and taken somewhere else and used somewhere else. It's a tremendous amount of firepower. While the United States is running out of interceptor missiles, running out of smart guided munitions, we've seen the Western Pacific Commander of the United States Fleet has said this, that the United States is low on certain types of smart munitions, smart missiles. War games have shown that if the United States gets into a broad conflict with China, that we would run out of guided bombs, we would run out of guided missiles within 2 weeks. I don't know about you, but wars have a tendency to take longer than 2 weeks. And that's not we wouldn't have enough in that theater. It's we would run out worldwide. That's assuming we can get all of those missiles and all of those bombs over there. They're saying that we would run out in a month or so of artillery shells. We've sent all of them to Ukraine. We've sent a tremendous amount of them to Ukraine. We've borrowed from our allies. We've borrowed from South Korea millions of rounds and sent them over to Ukraine, where they've been already fired off. And we're not building them that fast. All right. We just did a worldwide tour. Let's get back to Iran. Projections are now that they are producing approximately 34 kilograms per month of 60% enriched uranium. Now, you hear numbers and you go, okay, what does that mean? What it means is you can build about 5 nuclear weapons per month from what they are enriching. Now, I find this interesting for several reasons. One is it's not that hard to build a nuclear weapon from enriched uranium. Now, I haven't tried that out in my backyard. Maybe you should go over to my Poplar Prepper channel and see if I post any videos along those lines. I probably won't because I don't like getting prison food. I don't like prison food. Anyway, 5 nuclear weapons. And like I said, these guys can build these things. We built them back in the 40s, okay? Yeah, Iran can build them today, especially with the Russians whispering in their ear, their technical advisors just kind of making sure everything kind of goes along. They can take documents over to Moscow and be like, hey, check this out. Are we kind of on the right track here? Did we do something wrong here? Do we miscalculate something? And the Russians can check their math, right? And that's assuming that the Russians don't have a more active hand in actually building them their units, right? We can track where the uranium came from. We can't track where the electrical components came from. So and we all know that electrical components are going to eventually come from China anyway. So Iran could have, and they've been at these production levels for months. We could be looking at 15 to 30 nuclear weapons already in their arsenal. And that really does change the perspective a little bit on what's happening in the Middle East between Iran and Israel, doesn't it? The fact that they have been trying to get missiles up against the Israeli border. Close in, they've been testing and probing the defenses of Israel. If they launch a nuke at Israel, they want to make sure it gets through. Not only that, but they're probably going to want to hit it multiple times. They're going to have to take out Israel real fast because if not, Israel's going to hit back and hit back hard. Now, Israel has a couple submarines out there, so I think anyone should expect that if they do anything catastrophic to Israel, that they will also be wiped off the map. But nobody's talking about how the fact is that Iran quite possibly, if not probably, already has nuclear weapons. And that really does change the calculus in the Middle East and the stakes of what's happening. What happens if one of those nukes finds its way into the hands of the Houthis? Now, if the Houthis use a nuke, everybody's going to know where they got it. Everyone's going to look over at Iran and go, what did you do? I mean, it's not going to be like a secret. It's not going to be like, gee, Iran, did you do that? Everyone's going to go, Iran, you did that. We know you did that. Not only that, but we can test the isotopes or whatever, and they can actually pinpoint what country's nuclear reactor was used to produce that fuel. That's plutonium and stuff like that, but the uranium has stuff in it. You know, if you get 60% pure uranium, that is weapons-grade uranium. That is going to be, it has signatures in it. And the chemical molecular signatures, they've put a lot of money tracking these things. And apparently they can pinpoint it where it came from. Now, they may not have the maps of the reactors and stuff like that in Iran, but let's just say there's other gaps. I mean, they understand the other places like Russia and other nuclear powers that they would be able to put it together real fast. Not to mention that the Houthis get all of their stuff from Iran. So when you see these countries launching missiles at Israel, probing their defenses, when you see them launching drone strikes and missile strikes on U.S. Navy ships, you have to ask yourself the question, What happens if next time it isn't just a drone, but it has a nuke on it? What if it's not just a ballistic missile, but it's a ballistic missile with a nuke on it? Because I can tell you they would like nothing more than to take one of our carriers out in a nuclear blast. And let's just say that would change how the United States interacts with that part of the world. The United States very possibly might use nuclear weapons to strike back. We would certainly do a major military mobilization to respond. And I don't care who's president. Donald Trump would be forced to respond in some crazy ways to make sure that that never happens again. And this is what we saw Obama was setting our country up for by giving Iran those billions and billions of dollars and the pallets full of cash. And President Biden has come back into office and has continued that policy of appeasing, equipping, and encouraging Iran to make nuclear weapons, to develop them, and to ultimately deploy them. If you were Iran and you were going to use a nuclear weapon, would you want to do it before January 20th or after January 20th? I'm just going to throw that one out to you guys. Let me know down in the comments. If you were Iran and you were a bad guy or bad gal, which would you prefer to face? The potato or Trump? I think it's rather obvious which one. Now, if they do it too close to January 20th, there may still be a response. Even if the potato doesn't respond, Donald Trump will probably still respond. It will be harder for him the longer it has been delayed since then. He'll have to give threats that he can't carry out until he happens there. But you got to remember, Donald Trump knows that some of the assassins, some of them were from three-letter agencies from the United States. We know that for a fact. But others of them, generally the less successful ones, were from Iran. Iran tried to take Trump out. And I don't know about you, but if someone tried to take me out, I'd probably take that rather seriously. I'd take it rather personally. Now, I don't know about Donald Trump. I know a lot of people out there think that he's never petty, that he never takes anything personally, that he never responds when provoked. You probably have never heard of Twitter before or Truth Social. If you did hear of either one of those, you probably wouldn't say such things. They tried to take him out and they failed. And he knows it. I imagine that he would have no qualms whatsoever doing tremendous damage against the government of Iran. The Ayatollahs have embarrassed, injured the American people over the years, starting with when they got into power, when they took over the embassy in Iran. And the hostage crisis, the Iranian hostage crisis, right? There's a debt to be paid there in some ways, right? And we've been hitting them with sanctions for many, many years. But them getting a hold of nuclear weapons is absolutely intolerable. It's intolerable to Israel, our ally. It's intolerable to the U.S. bases over there. And I say that, and I twitch a little bit because why do we have bases over there? That's just, we shouldn't be there. Anyway, we shouldn't have any bases outside the Western Hemisphere. That's my personal opinion. We should lease some bases from some of our allies and just use them as refueling ports for our Navy ships and stuff like that. That's what normal countries do. Lease parts of airports and fly your aircraft through there. They don't actually build military bases in other countries. That's just a United States thing because we're absolutely insane. When you look at how many foreign military bases there are in the world of where one country has their troops and their military stationed in another country. It's like 90 to 95% of all of those bases worldwide are Americans putting their military crap in other people's countries. It's like 90%. I'm pulling that number off the top of my head, but it's something along those lines. It's just like when you realize that nobody else does this. No other country has troops in like South Korea. Only the United States. How many troops are there defending XYZ country or this other country or that? How many countries have their troops in countries in Africa that they never colonized? Nobody. The only Western troops that are in Africa are, like from former colonies, right? Like they feel guilty about what they did, so they're there. And that kind of makes sense, right? They're in a country where they taught all those people to speak their language. They oppress the people. They feel bad about it. And they feel that they need to make up for it or whatever. And so they send their troops to go help stabilize those countries. Why is the United States in all these countries? The United States never colonized any of these countries. Well, at least not physically. Maybe economically. But the fact that we have so many military bases all around the world is really absurd. And it really endangers American servicemen to Iranian attack. So, it's a danger to us. Is it a danger to the homeland? It's possible. Could the Iranians put one of those weapons in a shipping container and send it to the east coast of the United States? Yeah, they could do that. They could do that. They better do that before January 15th if they want to get it in before the longshoremen strike. So, if the longshoremen strike happens and they still haven't got any nukes here, then we're safe for a while, right? So, thank you, longshoremen, for keeping us more safe than the Department of Homeland Security. Anyway, that's all happening, and we should be taking it seriously. Friends, World War III could break out at any moment. Nuclear weapons could start being used at any moment. And once that genie's out of the bottle, it's going to be awfully hard to put it back in. Once it has been normalized using nuclear weapons on the battlefield, these recent advancements with drones are going to look like nothing. Friends, Iranian nukes are confirmed that they have the capability, they have the uranium, they have what they need, the components, and if they haven't put them all together, what are they even being paid to do then? It's really not that hard. Now, I'm not saying it's easy to make the sophisticated stuff, but to make something that goes boom with a nuclear chain reaction, you can go get books on it, okay? If you can't get a Russian to tell you how to do it, you can just get books off the library shelf that will tell you how to do these things. It's really not rocket surgery. All right, friends. Thanks so much for watching. If you want to check out another video from this channel, there's one right up here. I'll see you over there, or I'll see you guys later. Steve Poplar of the Poplar Report. And I'll see you guys tomorrow on Christmas Eve. God bless you all. Have a great holiday.